We hope you enjoy this podcast. All our conversations are inspired by films we have selected to appear on SDG.Vision. So go and take a look and be inspired by people and organisations who are making valuable contributions to the Sustainable Development Goals and making our world a better place for everybody to live. Now, sit back, enjoy, be inspired, and afterwards, go and take action.
Well, hello and welcome to the SDG Vision podcast. And today I'm really thrilled. We're welcoming Manya Harsha to the podcast. Hello, Manya.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's an absolute pleasure. I'm really thrilled. And you know what, Manya? I think you're probably the youngest person we've had on the SDG Vision podcast. How old are you?
I'm 15 years old.
Brilliant. And I know that you've been working very hard on issues of sustainability for quite a long time now. So we're going to be talking about that. And we're really excited to have you on because we feel that young people are really important in terms of providing solutions to the problems that the world faces today. And on the SDG Vision channel, we've got a section called Youth Action, which is highlighting people like yourself, Manya, who are doing great work, young people who are doing great work and showing us older people the way forward. So I'm really looking forward to talking with you. So first of all, Manya, where do you live?
I live in Bengaluru, which many people call Bangalore. It's the capital of Karnataka and it is one of the fastest growing cities in India. And it has a very interesting history. The name came from the word Bendakaluru, which means the town of boiled beans. And of course, when we talk about Bengaluru, we cannot forget Nadu Prabhu Kempegowda. He is the visionary founder of the city. And he is remembered not just as the founder, but as someone who thought about the city's planning in a very sustainable way, which we can see in the way how the city has developed over the past few years. And it was once famously known as the Garden City of India because of its lush green cover, its tree-lined streets, and there are many areas which are filled with greenery. And of course, there are famous parks like the Lal Bagh and Kaban Park, and there are areas which like Jayanagar and Malleshwaram, which are calm and it is perfect to live there. And once like living in Bangalore as an environmentalist, it is a roller coaster. On one hand, we can still get glimpses why it's called the Garden City, the walks early morning in the shaded roads, and the joy of the rain, and the community here is especially amazing. Here you can see that the community comes together to take actions on particular problems like maybe restoring a lake or protecting a depleted forest area. We do a pretty good job here. Everybody comes together, it feels like a family. And there are people who organize tree plantation drives and how to segregate the waste. They do workshops regarding that, and they fight to save a local lake, which is really motivating because you feel like you're not really alone trying to do something for the planet. But at the same time, I see a big old tree being cut for road expansion or for flyover being constructed. And I can see the traffic, the air pollution, and the water scarcity, of course. You can't escape those. I believe that certain provisions can be made, like planting more trees or protecting a depleted forest and making it flourish, etc., to compensate for the loss of the trees. So for me, being an environmentalist in Bangalore feels like living on the front line as I'm able to experience everything.
Wow, that's a lot of information about Bangalore, which is great because, you know, I don't really know much about Bangalore. I mean, it sounds as if your inspiration comes from where you live, really, in terms of what you see around you and what you experience. Is that right, do you think?
Yes, that is completely true because I have seen how the city has prospered over the few years because I've been living here since I was born. So I have been able to actually experience the development of the city over the few years. And I have myself been part of a lot of things like my first step towards my environmental journey was a water walkathon, which was done in 2018. So through that, I did a water walkathon from the place where I lived, along with my friends and along with a few parents. We marched to a lake. There we planted a few trees. We kind of interacted with the community there, the organization there. Then we marched to a nearby forest, which is there. And it's a protected forest, and it is still very pretty. I can hear a lot of peacocks nearby my house. We can spot a lot of peacocks too because of the protected forest. And there's a lot of different kind of animals too, like snakes, insects, birds, which stay over there, which also helps a lot in protecting the ecosystem and the habitat of certain species which are being endangered. So there also we have done a plantation drive and interacted. So I feel that the city has prospered a lot in the terms of sustainability too.
Brilliant. Okay, I wanted to ask you, and you might have answered this already, but how did you first become aware of sustainability?
This started from the age of 3 with my grandmother, Miss Rudramma V. So she was my guiding inspiration, my guiding force, who actually brought me into the line of sustainability and taught me what sustainability actually was. I was that kid who loved to run around in nature, play with insects, try to spot birds, listen to the music, and I felt that my grandmother's house was the perfect place for it. So we used to sit outside and kind of just listen to the birds, spot birds, and collect flowers, which was a really memorable thing for me. So she used to narrate me stories about her childhood, how she used to, play with the animals around, how she used to plant trees in her own front yard, and we continued the same too. She taught me how to plant seeds, how to take care of a plant, how to nurture a plant, and she also, I've seen her personally do like recycling her saris or probably some old cloth into a bag which she has used to go get vegetables or groceries for her house. So that inspired me, and I have been carrying along that inspiration, that thought of hers till now. And she was the person who has introduced me to writing also in Kannada and English. The books which I have authored in Kannada is all because of her. She has taught me how to write in the language, how to read it, how to express myself in words, which has really helped me a lot till now.
That's wonderful. That's lovely. That sort of from one generation to another, teaching somebody about the important things in life. I think that's wonderful. Well, let's come on to now this issue of, you said about getting an old sari and turning it into a bag, reusing cloth, etc. Now, we first became aware of you when we saw a film of yours called Children, the Earth's Defenders Environment Song. And we love that. And we've got that on the channel. And we think it's a great message to young people to take action. Let your voices be heard. Terrific, really lovely. But I also saw, and I thought it was a really interesting little film about your work about taking old saris, going to shops, getting old saris, sewing them into bags. And perhaps, was that the first thing that you did then in terms of doing something for the environment?
No, as I said, I started my work in 2018 when I'm at the age of 8 through my water walkathon. And before the Grandma's Green Weave project, which is the sari to a sustainable bag, before that, I have done a lot of workshops, a lot of plantation drives, cleanup drives. And in terms of sustainable bags too, I have been making my own newspaper bags or paper bags and have been distributing that way before the Grandma's Green Weave project. But this started in, I think, recent years, 2023, where I first started with my own grandmother's old saris after she passed away. She had many old saris with her, which I thought it would be an even more memorable thing for her if I started a campaign which was inspired by her actions. So through that, first of all, I started with my grandmother's old saris, and then I continued to start with collection drives in many apartments across Bengaluru, where I collected old saris from people in exchange for a cloth bag. So from there too, I could collect a lot of saris, and with the help of a local tailor, I got them stitched into cloth bags, which were then later distributed to local vendors, street shoppers, etc.
That's lovely. And how did people respond to that? Did they think this is a great idea, or were some people going, well, maybe I just want to use a plastic bag instead?
This was a major problem for me, as sustainability and practicing sustainability always hasn't been a bed of roses for me. I've had a lot of challenges along the way. First of all, people are not taking me seriously because I'm a child. Like, if a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old comes to you, approaching you, trying to give you a cloth bag to use instead of a plastic bag, it does not sound that practical. So that's what happened when I approached street vendors at first uh, to distribute the cloth bags and try to explain to them why they should not be using the plastic bags. They didn't really take me that seriously, or they did not really understand the concept. But I did not give up. I went back. I tried to persuade them into thinking that the cloth bags are even more sustainable. I tried to explain them how plastic is injurious to the environment. It does not degrade. And I feel that continuously voicing out your opinion does matter a lot in changing somebody's perspective about something. So that really helped me out. I could really, I felt that, and also communicating to them in I think simpler words was even better, because I don't think that everybody understands the concept of global warming, climate change, climate action. So I felt that approaching them in a more like a way in which they could relate to was a better way to kind of give them the idea. And then they started to understand, and I could see people shift to cloth bags.
Well, I mean, that's quite a learning journey for you as well, I imagine, learning how to communicate with people, to speak their language. Really important lessons for all of us, because we all have to, rather than speaking the way we want to, sometimes we need to be clearer, and we need to speak the language that people understand. So I think that's really valuable, really, really valuable. And I know also, I mean, so that was with older people, but I know also you do a lot of educational work with children as well. Do you want to talk about that? How you work? Because presumably you also have to change your language and the way you explain things to children. How do you do that?
So, working with children has been a really, I feel, a very important step in my journey, because I believe that sustainability should start from a young age so that you can carry it forward and explain it to the future generations too. I believe that today's youth is tomorrow's future, and we have the responsibility to carry on the sustainability and a green world for future. So when I interact with students of my age, or usually a younger age, it is kind of difficult for the younger children to understand the concept. So I've been using storytelling as a means of making them understand more better through puppets and animals, and trying to make them understand that what it actually means. I have been using stories from the UN water, or just any concept which has been really famous nowadays, so that they can also relate to it, thinking that they might have seen it somewhere. And I've been using pictures, stories, videos, and some colorful interpretation, so that they can kind of get attracted and try to learn more, because nobody likes a boring just kind of a talk or like a speech. Also, I've been using music as a means to through my song, which is Children, it's Defenders. It has been a really entertaining kind of interaction with the children, because they too kind of move with the music, try to understand the lyrics better, which is really helping me out. And I started my journey, which is Sunshine Children for Change campaign. I started it through a magazine. So I have been distributing the copies of the magazine to children. It has all kinds of activities. It has environment related activities along with some information which is depicted in a very colorful way so that children are able to read through it. Now I have discontinued it from the past few months, but before that I have been writing a lot in my own magazine. So that also has helped me a lot to interact. And overall, just using simpler words and trying to explain it to them better has been a very important way to convey my message, because I can't go to a child and expect the child to understand what global warming, what climate action, climate literacy means, because they are, I think, at the age of 5 or 4, 5 in Montessori's, they don't really understand. So making them do a few activities really helps out in educating them better about sustainability and everything.
It's interesting. So you write. You've written a magazine as well. Is Sunshine your magazine?
Yes, Sunshine Fortnightly or Sunshine Monthly. I'll change it a bit later. But yeah, I have been writing a magazine too.
Where do you get the time? Do you have more than 24 hours in your day, Manya?
I feel that my school has been very supportive in my activities as an environmentalist. I would like to thank my previous school, Bibgyor High, for really helping me out with my environmental journey. I would like to thank my teacher, Mrs. Lakshmi, too. She has been the person who has helped me a lot. And she was the person who motivated me to write my first book, my poem book, which is Nature Our Future. And also, I would like to thank my current school too, the Brigade School. Also, I feel managing my time better has always helped a lot. And of course, my parents are very supportive. They have always helped me a lot throughout my journey. They have motivated me. They've given me an opportunity to put out my ideas, and they have tried to understand me, my concepts, and they too have played a very important role in my success till now. So I would like to give a huge thanks to my parents and my mother and my father too.
Well, that's lovely, and we know that partnership is really important, and it can take many forms. I mean, with the Sustainable Development Goals, it's number 17, partnership for the goals. So it's lovely to hear that you're working with other people. So, Manya, I mean, you've talked about, a lot about the work that you do. A lot of, you've worked in partnership with people, and I'm just wondering if you think that maybe one day you might set up an organization rather than just working as an individual on the important issues you do.
I have been working individually from start, but I do have my organization, which is Sunshine Children for Change. I organize my campaigns, cleanup drives, plantation drives, workshops, seminars, etc. through Sunshine Children for Change. But it's an individual organization. It's me and my parents who conduct the activities through this, and I have thought about having an organization, but I think that I might have to first stabilize Sunshine Children for Change. Then maybe in the future, I might start an organization with more like-minded people.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I mean, we'll be very interested to find out how it develops, how your journey develops, and maybe we can, in a year's time or whatever, we can catch up with you and find out what you're doing and if you're doing things a little bit differently, etc. And you've already talked to us about your books, but I'd like to, I mean, you do an incredible amount. I'm still very surprised. I'd love to hear about your books and what sort of subjects they cover.
So I started my writing journey through a poem book, which is Nature Our Future. It's this one right here. So this one was published in 2019, I guess. Yeah, in 2019. So I used to write a lot of poems in my school, and I used to read them out to the class. It was not only about environment. I used to write about a lot of topics in general, like it can be mother, father, grandmother, the army, the earth, or just kind of a fun poem. And I used to keep like a record of everything. And then during a PTM, which is a parents teachers meeting, uh, my class teacher at that time, Mrs. Lakshmi, she told to my parents that your child has been doing a brilliant work in writing poems. You should get them published. My parents didn't really know much about me writing poems, but when they did get to know, they were really happy and surprised and excited, and they did not really hesitate. So I wrote a few more poems and we compilated everything, and I published the book Nature Our Future. And the cover page is also drawn by me. I was 9 years old when this was published. So this was my starting journey. This was the start of my writing. Then I continued in 2020. I released The Water Heroes, which in Kannada is also released as a book, Neerina Putani Samrakshakaru. So this is The Water Heroes. And all the illustrations inside are done by me. And this book, it throws light about how children can help in conserving water. It's a story about how a group of children, they come together, they understand the need to save water, and they implement ways in their own homes by informing their parents, their siblings, and telling ways how to save water. So I feel it's a very important way to give out a message in a way that children are able to relate with the other children. So, like how they can tell their parents, or how they can do the same in their school or in their society. So I think it's a very important way of writing, that you're able to write something in which to which children can relate. And later, I have released Once Upon a Time in 2020, The Lockdown Diaries, and this book is also in Kannada. So this book is about lockdown in general. There was a worldwide lockdown, and during that time, I could see that the earth flourished. The flora and the fauna, they grew. The trees were growing back again because there was no human intervention. And I could see that birds were flying everywhere, butterflies were back. I could see there were also news of how wildlife was back on the streets of the cities. So, centered through all of this, I wrote a book, and this too speaks about how the environment flourished, and also it speaks about instances where uh, children were separated from their parents because their parents were probably doctors who were serving the nation, or how they could not go and meet their grandparents during their holidays. So all of this is combined here in the book. And next, I wrote Parisara Yodharu, in English, it is the Eco Warriors. So this book speaks about how age is just a number, and how every age group can contribute in saving the environment. It talks about how a small child, a middle-aged man, and how an old woman can take steps to save the environment. Small steps maybe, but they have a big impact. And recently, my latest book has been released 2 months ago, which is The Shetty Sustainable Summer Vacation. So it speaks about how a family goes on a vacation to an island nearby, and they discover new ways of how they can travel sustainably. The vacation home where they live, there too they meet people who teach them new ways, and they explore a village. They understand new ways of sustainability, how they can be more eco-conscious, and they return back home learning a lot of things too. And that has been my latest book, and I'm looking forward to writing more books and reaching out to more children through my books.
Gosh, you're incredible output that you have. It's absolutely fantastic. Where can people buy these books, Manya?
It is, I think, yeah, Amazon, Flipkart, and Kindle. It's available.
Brilliant. We'll put a link to the Amazon link, I think, if we can do, in the description below this podcast. So hopefully, I really hope you get a lot more readers, because obviously the message that you're giving is really very important indeed, and you're doing it in a very colourful and engaging way, which is absolutely terrific. I wonder, Manu, have you, before we reached out to you and we asked you to come on the podcast, had you heard about the Sustainable Development Goals?
Yes, we have been learning about it in our school too from a very long time. Sustainable development has been integrated in our textbooks too, and we've been learning about it, which I feel is a very important thing because you are educating children about sustainable development at a very young age. I have heard about the SDGs, and I think it's very important because it shows how global these goals are. And for me, as an environmentalist, what I like is that they connect everything, the people, planet, and the future also. And it's not just about reducing poverty or growing the economy, it's about doing everything while also protecting the nature. And I feel that the fact that it's taught in schools means that they're starting young so that the next generation can also carry forward this idea.
Well, I mean, it's great to hear that they're teaching the SDGs and sustainable development in schools. That's really heartening to hear. It really is. I wonder, you've done a lot of work, obviously, since a very early age. What advice would you give to young people who are thinking about taking action? It might be on climate issues, it might be on social issues, it might be on water, about water, conserving water, whatever. What advice would you give to them about how they can take action to promote sustainability?
I believe that my message is clear. The earth is not for sale, and we, the future generation, we won't trade our planet for short term gains. Let's not wait for a superhero to lead the march of climate activism and instead be one. There's a shloka which I would like to share with you. Bhavishyana vrikshan rupayamo vrikshan sukhino bhavima, which means let's plant trees for the future. Let's keep planting them with care so that all of us may live in happiness. So I really go by this shloka and it has inspired me in many ways. And my message is just start. Climate action and sustainability, they can sound huge and overwhelming, but every moment and every action starts with small steps. So don't wait until you feel like you know everything or you have a perfect plan. So even simple actions like reducing waste, recycling, speaking up at school, discussing with friends, it can create a lot of awareness in people. And the other thing is to not underestimate the youth voice. The youth has a huge, I think, effect on people when they take action, when they voice out, and they have the power to influence communities, people, brands, and governments. And we don't need to be experts. If you just have the passion to do something, I feel it's a driving force. And finally, if you don't do it alone, you can start off alone, but do get people to join you along in your journey. Sustainability is all about practicing it in a community, working together, learning things together, and supporting one another. So when you connect a lot of people together, I feel there's a bigger chance of getting a bigger action on certain things. When a lot of people voice out their opinion, there is a greater chance for change to come. So my message is to act with courage, be consistent, and remember that change doesn't come at once together. It comes in progress, in steps. So you have to go through the process, and then you will do get success.
Very wise words, and I think your song says it. Children, the earth's defenders. I think children and young people can play an incredibly important role. I think because people of my generation, okay, we may not be directly responsible for the environmental crisis, etc. However, I think we need educating by younger people. It's your future. And I think young people have got every right to say to their parents, to their community, to their older friends, to their older brothers and sisters, hey, look, we need to do something about this. I'm concerned about this. This is my future. It's our planet that I'm going to have to live in. So I think, these are really wise words that you say. And I think that people watching this will really be inspired by it, and inspired by your work as well. One thing that I haven't mentioned is that you've got a website as well. Would you like to give us your website address, Manya?
It is The Little Environmentalist, manyaharsha.com.
Terrific. We'll put that up on the screen so that people can see it, and we might even put a QR code on it so people can just get to it very easily and find more inspiration in your writing and the words that you have. So really the final thing for me to ask, Manya, and I'm sure people will want to know this, what are your plans for the future?
So till date, what I've done is just a beginning. So far, I have distributed over 15,000 sustainable bags. I've planted and distributed over 16,000 saplings, and I've also thrown over, I think, 10,000 seed balls also. And I want to grow more of this, and it feels very small compared to what I dream of achieving. So I do want to reach out to many more people and especially inspire children, because they are the future caretakers of the planet. And my main goal is to plant 1 million trees and distribute 1 million sustainable bags. And I also want to take up more plantation and cleanup drives with more community involvement, so that the action and the impact, it also multiplies throughout the time. And through my project, which is Grandma's Green Weave, I want to expand further and distribute more sustainable bags, replacing the single-use plastic with eco-friendly alternatives. And beyond that, I also hope to create more awareness campaigns, collaborate with schools, and build networks where sustainability, it is a shared lifestyle and it's not just an individual effort. And this is not just about planting trees or giving out bags. It's about planting ideas and building habits and weaving a greener and a cleaner future for us and the future generations.
Wonderful. Your grandmother has done wonderful work with you, teaching, and you're learning from her. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to hear your inspiration through her living on and making such a positive impact on the world. Manya, we could talk for hours, I'm sure, about your work. Maybe, as I suggested earlier on, maybe we can get you back in a year or so and see what you're doing, get an update from you. It'll be terrific. I'm sure you're going to reach your targets, your goals. Even if you don't, even if it's just one more tree that you plant, that's still fantastic. It's still important because it shows to other people what they can do as well. Manya Harsha, you're a great inspiration. We wish you well, and we look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a great opportunity for me, and it's been amazing talking to you, sir. And I hope for more conversations in the future.
That's lovely. Thank you, Manya. Bye-bye now.
Basically...
पृथ्वी सुंदरता सुरक्षा सार्थकम वन्यजीव रक्षा जल संरक्षणम समृद्धि सदायितुम पर्यावरण में संकल्पो हि योग्य प्रतिजीवने पृथ्वी सुंदरता सुरक्षा सार्थकम वन्यजीव रक्षा जल संरक्षणम समृद्धि सदायितुम पर्यावरण में संकल्पो हि योग्य प्रतिजीवने of your